Hi everyone. Today let's talk about retail sales. Then we have some charts to go over, and then we'll look at results for today and positions going into tomorrow. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single day, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So Target earnings came out today, and they were much worse than Walmart. Walmart was up about 0.75%, while Target fell about 15%. They say their results came up short of expectations, while Wall Street cheered Walmart. They say traditionally Walmart benefits from tight conditions and inflation and economic softness, while Target does better with high income earners, which usually stems from discretionary spending like apparel and home goods. So the question is, does that mean the economy is continuing to soften, and is this basically a canary in the coal mine, telling us that the economy is getting weaker and people leaning towards Walmart versus Target? They say that high-income earners are currently taking the brunt of job losses, and equity investors who are overweight large-cap stocks are also experiencing similar pain with their profits eroding. They also mention here that Home Depot and Lowe's both did very well, with Home Depot being up 1% and Lowe's being up 3%. And Walmart also mentioned that they are initiating a $20 billion buyback program for their stock on top of their strong third quarter results. Overall, Walmart is doing well. Home improvement continues to do well, and those higher-end retailers like Target are starting to struggle. So let's get into the charts, starting with the S&P 500. On the day, we were down only about 0.5%. We were down a little bit more than that in the midday, closer to 0.9%, almost a whole percentage point from the previous lows. And you can see we got just to the low of yesterday and basically went sideways. Of course, this does look weak. All of the moving averages are in line at this point. Although the 9 and the 21 are pretty close, but definitely looks bearish. Certainly would expect this to continue downwards tomorrow, but it only went down a little bit, and if it continues on this kind of slow sloping trajectory, that doesn't seem terrible. In terms of price targets, we still have this area of demand right around 389. That's the lows here on 10 November, and right at the highs here at the end of October as well. So 389, that's where I would expect this to break down to. Might be some demand here at 392, but really 389, 390 seems like a stronger level if we do get below these previous lows here in the middle of November. Moving over to the NASDAQ, we did have a kind of structure going on here. We had some trend lines created yesterday, dipped below those midday yesterday, got back into them at the close. And then we basically continued through those areas, back up into those areas, and we're right now sitting on support. We finished the day sitting on that support level. And then we kind of rallied into the after hours here a little bit. So similar story. All three moving averages are in line. Definitely looks pretty bearish. Momentum on the short term here is to the upside slightly though. Going over to the 1 hour chart, you can see momentum is fading to the downside. In terms of levels, definitely looking at 281, which would be the lows here on the 12th of November, same area, and the highs here at the end of October. If we break through there, definitely looking at the 275, 265 range in that zone down here, which would be at the 144 EMA on the hourly chart and in the same region as these support lines down here. So if this breaks down, definitely what I would be looking for. And of course, it looks pretty bearish right now on the short-term charts. Moving over to the Russell, I was surprised how big of a red day we got today. It was holding up stronger than the others yesterday, but today it fell off a cliff. We got a big red bar in the morning, and I guess that's because there's probably more retailers in the Russell 2000. They're probably more affected by the results that we saw in Target. Otherwise, we came down to 184. That seemed to be the level of support. Previous highs right here also at 184. So on support where we are right now, we could go down and touch this level of support at 183.80, which is right above the 182 level, which is the 144 EMA. So in this zone would be support. We're currently on a little bit of support. Wouldn't surprise me if we got a slight update, broke through that resistance and came down into that lower range. Overall, this trend is still bullish, definitely to the upside, just short-term bearish here, maybe over the next day or two. Moving over to Walmart, you can see we have some lows back in May around $118, $119, and all the way back up to $148 here today. 2 really strong days of trading, jumped from $138 all the way up to $148. Going back to the same prices that we had here at the end of May before this massive sell-off that we had. So back up into this range. It seems like we're on a good trajectory. I don't think Walmart's going to the moon or anything, but this is probably a strong defensive stock, and it seems like it has a pretty bright future, at least through the middle of next year. Moving over to Target, similar story. It had a huge drop off here all the way down to about 139, very similar pricing actually. Got back up to 182, and since then we've kind of been trending sideways. We were up at about 179, which makes this drop look significantly worse than it is. Really, we're just kind of falling back into this range where we were at before. And we were at almost the recent highs here at 179 before the earnings update. Of course, this looks pretty weak in terms of where we are now. Probably wouldn't look at this stock before we're back into that 140 range. Hard to say where Target's going. This is a retailer that generally does pretty well, and they might just have some inventory issues that they're working through. And if they can get that handled, maybe this stock all the way back up to its most recent highs, back into this 265 range, and maybe this is a good buying opportunity. It's really hard to say here in the short term, but I wouldn't look at this stock right now until we're back into this 140 range, at least at the most recent lows. Moving over to top gainers, we got XLP or Consumer Staples. Consumer Staples has been rallying all the way since around 10 October. Huge gain here, going from $66 up to $74, but this momentum seems to be fading out here, and it looks like there's eventually going to be a rollover at some point in the next few days or so, maybe before the end of the week. And if that does happen, that certainly will be bad for the S&P 500. Really, consumer staples are holding up the S&Ps right now, and why I think the S&Ps are doing better than the Nasdaq and the Russell. But if this rolls over and it's no longer supporting the S&Ps, I think we'll see stronger down moves in the S&Ps compared to the other major indices. Looking at AMD, just because I've been trading it here recently, huge down move after the big rally yesterday. Came all the way down to 72.50, really bottomed out there, and then rallied a little bit in the after hours, hitting that 55 EMA here on the hourly chart. And it seems like we're going to get a slight retrace. If we break through this level, it might be a continuation. But if we bounce off that, I would expect it to move further down, maybe into that 68.50 range. Moving over to CHWY, CHWY definitely faked me out. I did have a position going into the day on CHWY at $43, right at support. And we broke through that really dramatically, went all the way down to $40. It seemed like we were going to kind of get a huge move down to $38.70, which is certainly still possible. But then we kind of retraced all the way up to $42.28. So again, similar story to AMD. If we break through, this should be a continuation. And if we bounce off, again, looking in that 39 range, similar to these highs, and then back at the hourly EMAs and where they should be by the time the stock gets down there. Checking in on XOP, we talked about weakness yesterday, and we certainly got some more weakness in there today. I would expect this to get all the way down to 52, 53 range before we get any kind of bounce. If the support line breaks, then we could come all the way back down to the 144 EMA, which is currently at 142.27, which would be a pretty good drop from where we are right now, and a pretty good opportunity to sell some calls into that sell-off. Moving over to DXY, basically went sideways on the day, had a little rally in the midday, made it look like we were kind of breaking through this level of resistance that has been holding it down here for a couple of days, hit the 55 EMA here on the hourly chart, and basically went sideways from there. So still waiting to see what the dollar does in this consolidation pattern, slowly sloping to the downside. It's definitely losing momentum, and really I'm just waiting for this big up move in the dollar so we can get that nice retrace in, and then we can wait for the sell-off here, which should be good for stocks. Of course, stocks will move down as the dollar moves higher, at least the Nasdaq will. And once that's done and we get the reversal in the dollar, as long as this downtrend continues, then we should see some more upside for stocks and specifically growth. Looking at JNK just for a second here, not a lot to say. Did gap down slightly and then went straight sideways, waiting for JNK to pick a direction, and hopefully it gives us a little bit of a lead indicator on where the Nasdaq is going. Looking at TLT, this really should have been in top gainers, but huge move over the past 2 days. It's up about 10% almost from its lows, just short of 10%, all the way up to $101.14 from around $92. So big rally. We did see something similar here from June all the way into August. So it's certainly possible that this could be something like that. And then we get a breakdown later on. This looks really strong. We have a low, higher low, up into resistance, retested as support, and then continued higher in a very parabolic manner. So strong moves here, very oversold on the hourly chart. Momentum is finally starting to fade a little bit on this big rally. TLT is the big winner for the day, so bonds rallying pretty well, but J&K didn't, so that's interesting. But it's good to see some money coming back into bonds after the huge sell-off we've had here in TLT. Finishing up with the VIX here, not doing a whole lot of anything. Very small inside candle today, a little bit more consolidation. Did get just above the close of yesterday for a moment and then threw a wick to that side and moved down slightly. If this continues down, maybe we see that short-term rally that I was talking about. Momentum to the downside continues to fade here, waiting for that cross on the daily chart. Once we get that cross, I expect this to move higher, and then I expect a big move down in stocks, so be aware of that. Keep your eye on the VIX, and hopefully it gives us enough warning to get out, as we should expect a larger move down once this rolls over to the upside. Going over results for today, I was actually up around $210 on the day. Negative here on my IRA, positive here on my individual account. And really, that's because I did short the market quite a few times. You can see all of these day trades in here. Short at 285.35 on the NASDAQ, bought it back at 285. Actually went long here at 285.61, sold it at 285.89. Went short here again at 285.97, bought it back at 285.60. So quite a few day trades in there. And that's really what helped keep me afloat today. Made almost $300 across all of the different day trades. You can see another one down here, 286.16, bought it back at 285.75. I did roll down my CHWY position. I don't know how I feel about that. Probably going to lose money if I had just left it alone, but I bought it back here at $294 and then sold the $40 puts at 97 cents. I did sell XLP short here briefly. You can see I sold it for $1.60 and then bought it back for $1.27, so another little day trade in there. Otherwise, overall, pretty good trading today. Definitely one of my better days, much better than yesterday. And then in terms of positions going into tomorrow, I still have that $40 put here on CHWY. Profit here, like I said, probably should have left this alone. Going to get a sign on these 187 puts here on IWM. I already sold the 185 call here for $1.13 going into Friday. Then for puts on the NASDAQ for tomorrow, I have a 284 and a 283 for about $1.90 credit, and then a 283 here for $1.65 on Friday. So still mildly bullish, and hopefully I can continue to cover any losses to the downside by selling short-term short positions on stock on the NASDAQ in case the market moves against me. Let me know down in the comments section what you think of Walmart and Target. And is this going to spell destruction for retail, or are they just going to go sideways for now? Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.